So, welcome back to another edition to the Talking Shaymen Podcast, and I'm kindly being joined by Alex Green. He has his own podcast called DN35 Podcast. It's a Grimsby-based podcast, and we're going to be previewing our game versus Grimsby Town FC. So, Alex, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So how's it been going at Grimsby then? Obviously, you started so strong the season. I think you went 7 games unbeaten before losing to Bromley, and you bounced straight back. And then ever since, well, most recently, you've gone on a bit of a bad run, haven't you?
Yeah, it's not been great. We started brilliantly. I didn't think the team were going to hit the ground so strongly, put in some decent performances. And we've kind of been a Jekyll and Hyde team. At home, very imperious, really strong, really creative, really direct. Away from home, we're quite poor. We seem to be sort of caught in two minds on whether or not we press the game or let the game happen around us. We've not got the strikers that we hope. Our number 9 shirt is still left and still open. So we haven't got that guy, James McAtee, who is the guy who's been banging them in. Got injured and then got suspended at the Dagenham and Redbridge game. So he's been out. He'll be back on Tuesday. But with that and the COVID delays, we've had a couple of those now. It's not going very well. It's, normal non-league stuff.
Yeah. Well, you're back here now, aren't you? After being in the Football League so long. Obviously, Grimsby, they probably know this league off the back of their hand. I thought they did quite well at the start of the season. What's your thoughts on the previous game between the two sides then in the 1-1 draw?
Yeah, I was really impressed with us. I thought we played really well. We were pretty dominant after the first 20 minutes, but I think Halifax, you guys have got a really some of the balls you played over the top were simply magnificent, and on the break you were really dangerous. It's going to be really interesting to see how that sort of changes with you guys being at home and expecting to sort of control the game. As a counter-attacking team, you look so dangerous, very similar to how dangerous Woking were when we played those guys, but you were probably a little bit stronger on the ball and being able to complete that final pass. I was impressed with how we were. We've just lost our right back he's gone back on loan, so whether or not we're going to get another guy in, I'm not sure. We've also lost Sam Bell, who came on briefly in the game as well at on the weekend. Is it the weekend? God knows anymore. And so it was good. I was really impressed. It's probably the best I've seen us play, but I live down south, so I only really get to see the London games. And away from home, we have been absolute dog.
Well, so do you think you'll have a different approach then to the game on Tuesday of what you did on that Monday fixture? Because personally, I thought the first half an hour, I thought we were dominant. I was quite confident, and then the last 15 minutes of the half, to be honest, you dominate the game. Even the opening stages of the second half, you probably were the most likely to score. We scored from the run of play, to be totally honest, and then we were basically 11 men behind the ball for the next 40 minutes or so of the game. What do you think your approach will be then on Tuesday?
Well, I hope it won't change.
Yeah.
I hope we keep doing the same thing, but I would imagine we would. I will expect to have a lone man up top, and we're kind of then reliant on how good Ryan Taylor will be. He was superb against you guys on the Monday, but if he's having a game on his own, or whether or not we're trying to put McAtee in there and they're kind of trying to get back into the groove that they were, it could be decent for you. You guys obviously bounced back pretty sharpish after the performance against us. So I'm not too confident away from home. At home, I fancy us to face everybody, but
it's not too good, is it, at the minute for you away from them? You've got the 16th worst away form in the league.
I didn't know that. That sounds about right.
But there were a couple of players that are quite impressed with from Grimsby's point of view. We've had some things in the chat already saying that Grimsby, some people are saying you were a better side than what Chesterfield were when we went to Chesterfield away. But there were 2 players for me that I think stood out for you. I think that Afete, I think it is, a wing back, number 2, I believe. And there was another player called Sosa on the wing, and he looked deadly going forward. He was quite a nervous player, to be honest. I think our wing back did quite well against him to keep him quite quiet, but he looked very lively. And I think if he's playing on Tuesday, he's going to be a threat for you.
Arico is the guys from Darlington who we know, who we got him from, said essentially, look, he's going to be amazing and he's going to wind you up something rotten because he's if he could finish, he wouldn't be in this league. He'd be League One, league top of League Two. He's got Toblerone boots. He'll get through into the final third, and you guys will be absolutely terrified. And then he'll hit some poor nana in Rose Ed. Because he's just inconsistent. But what we hope is that he shanks it and it hits someone on the rear end and goes in. That's basically our game plan.
We've got some things in the chat then, so I'll head over. This person said, what did Alex think of Chesterfield when they played at Grimsby, and how does he think we compare against them? So obviously Chesterfield came to you and they scored in the last minute, I believe. What were your thoughts of them compared to us then?
I didn't go, but I listened to it on radio, and they were very similar to what Notts County were. By the sounds of it, they won against the run of play. We've played Wrexham and Stockport and Chesterfield and Notts County now, and I would say we had the best performance. We had the better of the four of them. I think you guys sounded a hell of a lot more dangerous than what Chesterfield did. They seem to be very reliant on Tishmanga and the like to perform. But I just worry when we're talking about those guys. Actually, come to think of it, if we're here for another season, I would much prefer to see Wrexham and Stockport leave, simply down to the fact then we've got a better chance. But the romantic in me would love to see a team like yourselves who haven't got the money and haven't got the sort of backing financially that those guys have got to upset the apple cart. The worry I have is that Wrexham, Stockport have got so many players, and Chesterfield as well, so many players in the back. When teams like ourselves are going against it, we're looking around going, we don't have anyone to play up front. I don't know what you guys are like. We were quite interested in is it Waters? Is that your guy?
Quite small, but he's been off it quite a bit recently. Well, I think more players have took over, like Warburton and Slew and Kieran Green even in midfield. But Billy Waters, he's a good little player, and he was on a bit of a scoring run at the start of the season.
He was certainly the one when this sounds so sort of disrespectful. We are going, oh well, we could pitch him off Halifax because we're desperately looking for a number 9. And when we're top of the league, it sounds quite a nice enticement. But I don't think we'll be able to sort of lure him away from you now. Go, you can come and play in 10th if you'd like. He might not want that.
Well, we're just hoping to get back to the Football League. The Phoenix Club, obviously, we folded, I think, in 2007. We haven't been in the Football League in our history with the Phoenix Club, and we're just hoping to try and get back there. But there's clubs like yourselves. I personally think you're in quite a false position, to be honest. And what are your expectations for the end of the season then?
I think we're quite lucky compared to Southend. We understand what an absolute absolute hole this place is, and we've been to Braintree and lost 5-0. We went to Bromley. It hammered it down. I got absolutely soaked. They've got no roof. We lost 3-1. We get that. It's going to happen all the time. We went to Wealdstone and lost 1-0. So that stuff, unlike Southend at the moment, their fans are going through that thing, going, "How can we lose to Wealdstone or like a team I've never heard of? I don't even know where it is on the map." I think that helps because you don't have that sort of bun fight going on in the background with your fans who are trying to adjust to this league. This league in quality is no different to League Two. League Two is, in fact, what you've probably got is you've got more difficult games. You've got teams like Altrincham who, because they're part-time, for some players that actually helps them. They've got a decent job or they don't want to commit to it full-time. So they can pick the very best players who've got the talent who can play part-time against teams like maybe, I'm going to slag off teams that I don't like now. It's like Stevenage and Scunny and stuff. These teams that are essentially, they're just sort of circling the drain at the moment. We were the same. And then you'll drop down here. And I know people argue quite a lot. And funnily enough, now we're in here, I'd quite like 3 to go up. But when we're in the Football League, I don't. But one of the advantages of having 2 up, 2 down, it means that the teams that go up are so good. You guys at the moment, you are performing at the same level that a playoff team in League Two are playing at. And you know, if you go up, as long as you don't lose your players, you guys are going to have an opportunity to go straight through the leagues. Look at what Who's come down in the last few? Who's gone up in the last few years?
Luton, they win our league, weren't they? Who else? Sutton are doing quite well in the league above now,
Yeah.
and they're in a similar position to us. They weren't expected to go up at the start of the season. They've gone up, and I think they're third in the league now. Sutton.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got the same with like Cambridge, Bristol Rovers. They went up and they came back down again. Fleetwood did the same.
Yeah.
You've got a good chance if you keep the majority of your team together. If you get to go up from this league, you can bang straight through League Two and just pass through it and go. Oh, see you losers later.
Yeah. I'd love to be gliding through the league sets, but this league, it's just so hard to get out. I've only 2 teams to go up, and the amount of teams stuck here, like Grimsby for yourselves, obviously your fan base is quality for this league. It probably should be League One. Some may even argue Championship. Grimsby's fan base.
I'm arguing with our fan base at the moment. Don't ask us about it. Don't talk about badges and crests. We've just updated it, or they've bungled it, and it's not going very well. If anybody wants to see a bit of a house fire, go on the Grimsby Town Twitter accounts and look at the shouting. You'll probably see it on Tuesday night.
Yeah. What are the differences then with your badge and stuff at the minute? Because I've been wondering, isn't it just like making it a little larger or something?
Luke, you'll get into a fight saying stuff like that. Look, so what they've done is they've put a flag on the boat, which isn't, and you guys, I don't know what the industry is in Halifax. I guess it's like wool and fleece and stuff historically, but they've put a flag in the middle of the boat. That wouldn't happen, so people are annoyed about that, and they've changed the shape. They just didn't announce it really well. You kind of got to lay the groundwork before you do that stuff, and it's just a massive, massive car fire. Mariner Hodo understands it is a very touchy subject. It's the Brexit of Grimsby, though. Brexit is probably the Brexit of Grimsby, but you know what I mean. If you want to start a fight in the town end on Tuesday night, if someone just shouts, "I quite like the new badge," and then just watch us go at each other, it'll be entertaining.
Grimsby, to be fair, Grimsby, last time they came to the show, I think there's videos on YouTube of them taking over bars in Halifax, coming down the main road in Halifax to the ground. And you've got them like inflatable fish, don't you, that you sometimes bring to the games?
Crystal Palace nicked them all.
Pardon?
Crystal Palace nicked them all. All their stewards nicked them. So we played them in the FA Cup a few years ago. And everyone sort of, because that sort of thing happened in the FA Cup. So everyone took them, and the stewards went, "Nah, you can't bring them in." So we got them taken away, and we once, because of that, we once took a mariachi band to Barnet, and tried to bring, like a Mexican band with the sort of sombreros on and stuff. We snuck them into Barnet, and they did a little performance for us. That's worth looking up.
Now we've got a few more messages in the chat. Someone's come on and said, "Who do you reckon is going to go up this season?" Like, being honest. Me and you, so you go first.
Well, football's whole is hell, isn't it? There's no romance now, even though I am watching Forest beat Arsenal. It's going to be, I can't imagine one of the money clubs not going up. So I imagine Stockport will go. And then I would love to see yourselves or Borehamwood, somewhere like that, just to have a bit of a play. Because if you go up, you're not likely to come back down unless you run terribly like we were.
I personally think they're too strong, Chesterfield. I think we're going to give them a good go. And but you've got Stockport and Shannon. They're a different team. They've got money to throw around, aren't they, in January? Wrexham, they're looking, I think, if Solihull Moors play that Joel Sabah. I still don't think Wrexham will go up. I personally don't think Grimsby are going to go up. I don't think they've got the money in a way to bring players in January to, just completely change. I think if I'm being honest, I'm probably going to go Chesterfield, and then I'll probably go Stockport, to be honest. I'd love it to see Halifax, but I think being realistically, I think Stockport. But I think us and yourselves, I think we'll give them a good go this season. So we've got a Grimsby fan that's come on and said, "How many penalties will the ref miss this time?" Now, last time there were quite a lot of debatable penalties, weren't they? I don't want to look at them back because they're quite obvious, to be honest, in some ways. But slow motion in it makes it look worse. What's your opinion on it?
It's going to be really interesting to see how our players sort of manage that this time round. We talked about it on our podcast as well, actually. So what do you expect your players to do? So I think there was one in the lead up to your goal, which questionably was a penalty. There was the one where Ben Fox was essentially arrested and led out of the box. It'll be interesting. What the problem is refs are quite easily swayed by the reaction of players. It has to be an immediate one, and I'd like to see our team sort of more vociferously sort of argue our point when a legitimate one comes on. I don't want Bromley stuff. I don't want them rolling for 300 yards out of the ground into the car park and then back in the other side. I would like them to make the point, but it's a physical game. I saw one of the Halifax players had his shirt ripped as well. So there's got to be things that we didn't see. I would like to see us manage it better, but it's in this league and it's to be expected. We've got terrible refs and we're all going to miss. They're all going to miss them for each other. So I imagine it evened itself out over the 90 minutes.
We do always get the worst refs in this league.
You haven't had Trevor Kettle yet?
Pardon?
I don't think. Have you had Trevor Kettle yet?
We had the worst one I've seen was actually in the FA Cup, and it was a Football League referee. It was against Kidderminster. We won't talk about them because we both don't have a good record against Kidderminster this season.
Well, neither do Reading. Hang on, I'm going to find out who refereed your game. Kidderminster v Halifax. Yeah,
I think
it was at home, wasn't it?
League referee they stated.
So Trevor Kettle was such a bad referee that he gave a free kick against us for offside against Harrogate, and he allowed Harrogate to take it inside their box, which was quite hilarious. It doesn't tell me. I'm sorry, man. I'll stop looking.
So crowd capping then, obviously. Well, the West Yorkshire Police, they're a joke in my opinion. They've only given you 1,200. I believe they've upped that a little bit more now with Huddersfield and Bradford and Leeds not playing on the Tuesday night. What's your opinion on it then?
Well, the initial, apparently from the people inside our club, the initial, what you wanted to give was 400, which was a bit of a surprise. 12. Yeah, 12. I can understand policing is, look, it costs. If you guys need to bring in more to police us, then it's a pain, and we don't do ourselves any help. Last time we played at Halifax, yes, it was great, but amongst town fans, it's actually seen as quite a bad showing from the fans. There were allegations of racist abuse thrown at our own players. There was infighting amongst the own crowd. It was kind of seen as like a really low point. And I can understand if they work off the back of that, then I can kind of understand why they limit it. But I don't think you should be denied tickets. If you guys have got it, if you want the money and it will make sense for you guys financially, cram us in, because there's nothing else to do in Grimsby. It's too cold to go down to the beach. So by all means, ram us in and we'll buy pies for £6.50 or whatever it is.
Now, if we want, we could give you 2 stands, and I think the club would want that. It's the council, and they don't like us having a big crowd. It's like FA Cup games; they don't particularly like it when we're getting over 4,000 in and having creating a good atmosphere. And there's outside the ground, there's been trouble, but I think this has all come from that Wrexham game where there were a few allegations of some violence.
Is that me? Can I take over the Halifax podcast now? Is that what I've done? I didn't mean to. So these are why the Grimsby Town are the greatest football team in the world. We'll start with number 1. Oh, no, he has. I've taken over the Halifax podcast. This is not a good idea. Okay, send me stuff while we're waiting for Luke to come back on then. Send me some little facts that I should know about Halifax, because you guys are quite chatty, and I'll learn it. I know you got that massive market thing that looks like it belongs in Venice. That's pretty cool. So yeah, send that through. It'll be great to know. Mariner Hoda, you can't take over the Grimsby, the Halifax chat, but we could start talking about the badge if you want. I guess. Who remembers the game that we played against you lot? at Wembley. The last game we played in non-league before we had to come back unceremoniously, and you guys won the FA Trophy. I'm a Grimsby fan, Freddie. You know that. That's why I'm here. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Marina Hodo wants to know. Can you tell us some places to go eat and go drink, and where's the best places to go before we go and play you guys on Tuesday? That'd be good because I'd love to know that. Yeah, Freddie, I am a Grimsby fan. I was born up there. I now live in Surrey, and I do aerospace and defence stuff. So it sounds cooler than it is, I promise you. I can't tell you about the lobster pot thing. No, I can't tell you that. Am I doing all right? Okay, who should we know about when it comes through? I'm relying on you guys. What have you done with our league? I don't know. I'm not going Tuesday. I'm in Surrey, Freddie. I can't go, I'm afraid. I'm going to be. It's a bit of an old trip. I've got a Brexit conversation going on. I've got a Brexit webinar that I've got to do and talk about customs tariffs, which is very interesting, I promise you. Is Freddie coming back on now? No, that's just mine. Free Luke. Yeah, I've locked him. I'm a tech master. I've locked him in a corner. This is exactly what you're going to see all Tuesday. It's just going to be all Grimsby, all 90 minutes. That's all it's going to be. Is we're just going to do that. The greatest Grimsby players. Oh, let's have a look. Actually, while we're doing that, I'll have a look. Are there any players that have played for Halifax and Grimsby? There's got to be, hasn't there? We're all quite local to one another. Paul Hurst News. No, that's not helpful. Marina Hoda, you've got to know you've got Luke Summerfield. Did I go when it was? No, I've never been to the Shay, actually. Three Pinches is the pub of choice. The Shears Inn. Is this one actually, Moody, where you're telling me these places and we all go and we all get bludgeoned to death because it's a really nasty place full of really angry locals? You guys have got Luke Summerfield. He used to play for Town. He replaced our midfield that got us promoted, and so he wasn't really nice. Worthington. What? Frank Worthington or the beer? I think Worthington actually was at the game on the game at Halifax. He was there. That's why he was there. We were quite kindly invited by the owners to do a podcast with them beforehand. So we had a little meeting, and he was in there as well. So he must have been invited because of that. That makes perfect sense. Dave Worthington, yes, he was there. Dave Worthington was there. I remember seeing his nameplate. So he was at the game on Tuesday at the 1-1 draw. Who have we got that you would have had? But Giles Coke. Giles Coke pay for you guys? No, he pays for Mansfield and Wednesday and Chesterfield. Halifax story. Billy Waters. So is Billy Waters related to Joe Waters, who used to play for Town in the 80s? Because let's have a look. So there used to be a player called Joe Waters who used to be incredible and used to play for Town. Billy Waters. Born in Epsom. Why is he in Epsom? He used to play for Torquay. Personal life. In addition, Walters is a talented singer, apparently. Okay, is this a gotcha moment? Let's have a look. No, I don't see anything like that.
I'm back.
Good.
I don't know what happened then. That was a technical difficulty. I just shut my door. What were we talking about now? I think crowd capping, wasn't it?
Yeah, crowd capping. So, I'd love to see as many throughout league. Like the tickets down here are too expensive. I don't know what you guys charge, but we charge too much. It'd be nice to pack it. We're quite lucky because we've got a new owner. Fans are coming back. So the game we played against you was a bit lower in attendance than we've had. I guess Christmas
and have anything to do with that? Because obviously BT Sport, did that have anything to do with that? Obviously, them coming, people might want to come home.
Yeah, it must do. I don't think it helps. We haven't won in 9. That tends to put some people off. But that and COVID, and it's Christmas. People have got Christmas paycheck now, so they've got to wait until the end of January to get paid. So quite a few reasons, I guess.
Yeah, obviously crowd capping. Well, tickets are quite expensive at our end, but when crowd cappings are happening, like, you know, when you're having like 1,200 allowed, we're losing revenue in a way, because it might, you know, mean we can't buy a certain player in January because we can't have the money that you're going to come with when you're bringing in. And like, how many do you reckon you'd bring if there weren't any crowd capping?
That's a good question. So probably I would say 1,500. I would have imagined.
Yeah.
Because it's a Tuesday night, maybe a little bit less. The problem, even though we're all quite close, none of us, we don't have a direct train line to you guys. I don't know how many it would actually take to change. So it's always a bit of a worry. Grimsby's sort of so much in the arse end of nowhere. It takes a good hour or so to get anywhere before you actually start going somewhere. So that's usually the problem. But probably London, Grimsby, I don't know what it's like compared to Halifax, and it might be something that you may not know, but like, if you get an education here or you do anything like that, you leave because there's no jobs. So you end up sort of
on the journey going to Grimsby. As soon as you saw a few power stations, it was that until Grimsby. Like, you saw Scunthorpe on the way, and that was literally it. It was Grimsby.
Nobody wants to see Scunny. Let's be entirely honest.
I did actually quite enjoy my trip to Grimsby, though. I must say it was quite a good away day for us. Obviously, quite low down in the away end, so it's good to create an atmosphere. And it's like a housing estate, isn't it? Like the way around Grimsby Stadium.
Yeah, it's built up around it. It's obviously a really old ground, and you can tell. But it's kind of limits sort of what we can do with it. But it's really nice, and I probably don't appreciate it as much as others do. I quite like the Shay. I like the massive terrace that you guys have. Like, I would kill for that. We're both quite lucky to have really nice stadiums. We could be in like a soulless bowl like Chesterfield or Colchester.
Yeah, I don't appreciate your stadiums, like your modern stadiums, like your Chesterfields. Like, we took quite a lot to Chesterfield. We took 800, which is quite good for us, to Chesterfield. And we created an atmosphere, but because it's seating, it was hard in a way to get close to each other. And obviously, they had like places where they put you. Where Grimsby, they did have places where you put you, but you just stand at the top. And Grimsby away, although we only took about 400 due to BT Sport, a lot of fans had trouble with the ticketing for Grimsby away, with it being all ticket. It felt like it was good to create an atmosphere at Grimsby, and I particularly really enjoyed it. That was the first time I've ever been to Grimsby. And when you look at like all the fans online of Halifax fans, it's always games when we've gone to Grimsby where it's showing a good atmosphere.
Yeah, hopefully I quite like that stand. I've always Marina Hoda will be able to tell you. I keep banging on about trying to put people in the Osman because it creates a bit more of a noise than it does anywhere. It's kind of similar to Aldershot's ground if you ever get to go there. It's a nice place to make it. Were you guys made to stand up at the top, or did you go up there by your own choice?
Well, you got put seated, and the ones at the bottom, like, we started at the bottom, where everyone puts like their away flags, like England flags and stuff. And we were put there, and then because we weren't close to the fans or anything, we stood at the top, and then you could literally just find a seat at the top where the atmosphere was created.
Well, actually, you're the first guys that actually do that. Most people go sort of on that bottom bit. I think if you get to the very top, you're kind of mullered because it's quite a low roof, so you can't see anything if you stood up at the top row.
Luckily, I'm quite small, so I will be affected.
In a few years, you got that issue. Don't worry.
But Grimsby away, it was a quality away day. I will appreciate. I'll be glad. Hopefully, we'll be in the same division next season if that's in the league above or the league we're in now. We'll head over to the chat then. Luke, we were worried about you. I'd only called the cops. Okay, thanks for that. We've got another one here. How many chippies are there around your ground? My Google Maps brought up about 20 in the nearby streets. How many is there?
There's too many. You either go to Marina Hoda will be able to help me out on this, but there is Great Whitefish nearby. There is Ernie Beckett. So if you want to eat if you get there early, you want to eat takeaway chips. Ernie Beckett's in Cleethorpes Town Centre is the best one. If you want to sit down and have a proper meal with it, Steele's is the best one for you, and then you guys will be all right. But there's too many. We don't have a Nando's because we've got too many chippies.
I went to a KFC before kick-off. We had to gulp it down because we didn't want to miss kick-off, and we had a few problems with the ticketing. My dad's phone was sort of played up, so we were thinking the barcode might not work, but luckily the woman just saw the barcode and let us in. We'll go to the chat again now. Marina Hodo said, any food places to eat before kick-off? Another fan's come and said the Shears Inn does food. That's a great place, good for a drink as well. But if you want to get in with the atmosphere, I'd probably go to the Courtyard pub. You could also go to the Peace Hall as well, which is a very nice place to eat. We've got another one now. What are both of your predictions? Really interested in both of your opinions. What is your prediction then?
If we play like we did against you on Monday, I expect us to win 3-0. If we play like we do every away game, I expect you to win 3-0. So it's one of the two, and there's no in between.
I'm quite confident going into this game because Eastleigh at home, although Eastleigh, they gave us quite a lot of time on the ball, to say how well they've done. How well they've done since that rough patch at the start of the season. To say they've picked up 22 points out of the last 10 games. They were nothing. They gave us quite a lot of time on the ball, and we thrived through that. If Grimsby come to the Shay and try sit back, I think, well, not sit back, give us time on the ball, or even let us play on the counter-attack, I think we'll annihilate you, to be honest. But I personally think it's going to be quite a tight game. I think it'll be an entertaining one. I know a lot of Halifax fans are saying we're going to try create an atmosphere for this game. The drum's going to be in. We always do against the big teams like Grimsby. I think you will be sitting in the Skirkett stand, which is left to the stadium.
Oh, we're not on the terrace now?
Pardon?
We're not on the terrace.
You were put behind the goal last time. Wrexham came and they were put in the Skirkett stand, so I believe you'll be put in the Skirkett stand.
Oh, okay.
It's like an old shed, basically, but it's good. It's a bit like Grimsby. You're quite close to the ceiling, so that's also good to create an atmosphere around the stadium.
I mean, it's got a roof, so it's better than most of the away ends in non-league. So you guys are fine. Yeah. Honestly, you will have never seen rain like it. It was biblical. We were all, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't subjected to going to Bromley away or working, but a lot of fans said it's not their favourite away day to go to this season. Yeah, I'm personally looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a cracking atmosphere. Grimsby, they always come in numbers. It's an important game for us to try and keep that momentum going at the top of the table. It's an important game for Grimsby because they've got games in hand, haven't they, to try and get in the playoffs and catch a few teams. I think if they win the games in hand, they'll be 5 points behind us and they'll be on the same points as Wrexham if you win your games in hand. But it's a very big game, I think, and obviously it's probably one of the closest away days for us. I don't know about you, so it's going to be a very big game, and I'm particularly looking forward to the game. Thank you for coming on again. If you want to find Alex's podcast, it is DN35 Podcast. I'll leave a link in the description so you can find it. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. And once again, thank you for coming on and best of luck.